Crazy night, huh? I've been getting attacked like this all week. Asking for prayer, people reaching out. Hey, I'm praying for you. I can feel something going on. All right, God is good, huh? Yeah. He ain't gonna win, or I mean, he ain't gonna lose, is he? All right, I'm gonna get right into this. Hi, my name's Chris Allen. The word testimony appears 76 times in the King James Version. This is the last time it is mentioned in the Bible. Revelations 19:10. At this I fell at his feet to worship him. But he said to me, don't do that. I am a fellow servant with you and with your brothers and sisters who hold to the testimony of Jesus. Worship God, for it is the spirit of prophecy who bears testimony to Jesus. I was born in Bismarck, North Dakota, to my dad, Ken, and my mom, Debbie Allen. The only thing I really remember about North Dakota is my grandparents owned a restaurant/bakery. Moved out of there when I was 3 and moved to Grand Rapids, Minnesota, with my older brother Ryan and my younger sister Tricia. I had a lot of good memories growing up as a child. So some of my early memories were us running around the yard playing tag. My dad having deer hanging in the garage. One thing I do remember is I came home from school and I seen this green animal hanging in the garage. And I'm like, what is that, Dad? And Dad told me it was a dog.
He did too,
Yeah, he told me it was a dog. And he's like, he didn't want me running to school and telling everybody my dad shot Bambi.
Yeah.
You know? But what happened was he was out in the deer stand and he shot this doe and it went through the doe and hit the fawn too. Well, that's what he told me. You know? I cried over dead mice, you know. Some of my early memories were us running around the yard playing tag. Okay, I remember my mom being sick with cancer, but she would still play with us from her bed. She passed away and went to heaven when I was 5. I say she went to heaven because later in life I found out stories from my dad and my uncle Doug that just left here, that she was visited by a demon. So my dad, my mom, and my uncle were newly Christians. This was in like 78. And my mom's upstairs reading the Bible. Uncle Doug and my dad were down in the kitchen. And she's reading the word, and here comes this thing coming out of the wall. It was like a 7-foot shadow is what my uncle said, kind of coming at my mom, and she ran downstairs. And I'm like, did it have a face? Did it have a face? You know? I want to know what this thing looks like, you know? And he's like, no, I couldn't really. It was just really, really dark. Didn't really see a form to it or anything. And it came through the kitchen. Uncle Doug was like, in Jesus' name, get out of here, you know? And the thing just goes right by him into the wall and leaves, right? Yeah, so she passed away when I was 5. Not too many stories about her that really come to mind, but she was just always so sweet, you know, and loving. I don't know, I think about things like now, back in 78, that's before any of us were born. I was like, is that something that's coming, I don't know, that was supposed to get us, you know, from not happening? I don't know. I'll give you guys a short rundown on what I've been through as far as trouble, because I want to save some time at the end for being institutionalized and how God pulled me out of that. I've been in and out of prisons. I've got over 10 years sat for all different kinds of charges. First time I went to prison, I I was 17 for second-degree burglary and fifth-degree assault. I've always been attracted to danger and dangerous situations. I've always loved running from the law, from keg parties. We used to have parties on my dad's house because he was an over-the-road trucker and was gone a lot. I got locked up for the first time when I was 12 for bringing a gun to school. And I liked the attention I was receiving from that. I was 13 and I got out of lockup then and moved in with my dad. At this time, we lived on Scenic 7 by Balsam. When I was 13, this is the year I first got saved, and I knew Jesus was real because I felt him inside. At this time, I'm at youth camp that my dad sent me to. I'm like, cool, let's go to youth camp. Go hang out, go meet new kids, run around, go do some fun stuff. I never thought I was going to get saved and God was going to change my life. Until I seen this girl there. It's always a girl. Yeah. And looking all sweet, you know. Yeah, there was this girl there praising. She was just praising God, and you could tell she was just giving it everything she got. You know what I mean? And how she would talk, you could tell there was something different about her. That was something that I wanted. So they did an altar call, and the guy doing the altar call was talking about things that I was going through. And I felt a tug to do the altar call. To do the altar call. I was talking about things that I was going through, and I felt a tug to do it and accept Jesus into my life. It took probably 30 kids going up there before I went up. Just a hard-headed kid, man. Through and through, you know. 44, I started changing my life around, you know. Okay, God, you know. Yeah, and then, so it took 30 kids going up before I went up. But after I went up, there was a change in my life. There was something inside me that was really moving, and I was starting to get convictions on the things I was doing, like the partying, the drinking, the fighting. I got back from camp, and things were going a little better, but it was hard at that age for me to give everything to God. I had a reputation of a tough, fun guy, and I continued down that path of seeking attention through destruction. My dad remarried and had 3 kids with her, Dory, Tom, and Paul. Her name was Kelly, and she hated me. Ryan and Trish, she hated us 3. She never acted like a mom for us, and she was always trying to get me out of the house, and it worked. After that youth camp, I got into an argument with her about her cheating on my dad. She was cutting up something for dinner, and she was waving a knife in front of my face, saying she was going to put me in a boys' home. So I grabbed her wrist, and she cut my nose, and she called the cops. I went to the mental institution, then to a group home for about 1.5 years. I came home after that. Then Kelly met a guy online and moved to Oregon. Left my dad and took Tom, Dory, and Paul with her, and never told me or Trish. We found out when we got home from school, and it looked like the house had been ransacked. We had no clue what was going on. Dad was an over-the-road trucker, and he was gone during the week and home on the weekends. It was just me and Trish at home, and I was really happy that Kelly was gone, you know. Being a teenager, parents are gone, you know. Woo! Let's go, you know what I mean? I got life figured out, you know. I was 17 and going to prison. this was, I had a friend's dad who cooked dope. So I started working for him to help make meth. Great idea there. This was when I was about 15. I was missing a lot of school. I knew Jesus at this time because my dad was heavily into going to church and building that relationship with God. But still, I wasn't ready to be fully in with God. I was 17 and going to prison for my first time for second-degree burglary and fifth-degree assault. While I was in prison, I was scared going in with 33 months to do, so I ended up joining a gang. I would do things like collect debts for their store. If somebody owed their store money, since I was a little guy on the pole, I would have to run into their cells and fight them. I realized quickly, real quick, about a year and a half, that this wasn't good, you know? That I wanted to be a part of. Nothing I wanted to be a part of. I never liked someone telling me what to do, can or cannot do. So there was a couple ways out. I could pay my way out, I didn't have no money, or I could fight my way out, which consists of a beatdown, basically. I took the beatdown. I got out of prison and moved in with my sister in Grand Rapids. And here started this repetitive cycle of in and out of prison. Man, at this time I just keep thinking about how my dad just constantly was getting me to want to believe in God and just give everything to God, you know? And I've thought about that like a lot, like how Dad was, because my dad's gone now. All the situations that probably most of us have, you know, that God's entered our life, and it's just, we kind of just blew by it, you know. So moved to Grand Rapids, and here started this repetitive cycle of in and out of prison because of my drug addiction and being an alcoholic. Being stuck in that cycle, I see now how much I've hurt my family, my friends, my relationships, myself, and most of all, my relationship with God. Isaiah 41:10, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. If we are faithless, he remains faithful, for he cannot disown himself. 2 Timothy 2:13. So I'm out living with my sister Tricia in Grand Rapids, and I'm stuck in that repetitive cycle and always trying to fit in. I'm doing meth, I'm drinking a lot, doing pretty much whatever I can get my hands on. I go back to prison many times, fleeing in a motor vehicle, 60 DWIs. I'm still paying for that. I got a blown go in the truck right now, and I have to do it for 6 years. Parole violations, I've probably been in and out of prison about 8 times. I've been in every prison in Minnesota, and yet I still wasn't done. I caught 6 more charges and ended up in drug court. I took drug court because deep down I wanted to live a sober life. And I really did. There was a few times I got it out of prison, I was just like, I really want this, you know? And then couple no's, couple more no's, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, I think I can handle it now, you know? Yeah, so sober. Drug court is about a 14-month program. It took me 3 years to get through it. They seen something in me that I didn't see in myself at the time. The first year of drug court, I kept getting the F-its, just giving up so easy. First thing that didn't go my way, I'd go get high. And then I started seeing things that they were seeing. They let me take a family vacation to Arizona to see my dad. It was my first time on a plane. That was my first vacation, and I started seeing what life could be like by seeing how much change my brother and my sister have in their lives in recovery. I could get used to this, vacationing, visiting, family, barbecues, fishing pretty much whenever we want. I could really see what love is all about. We had a great time in Arizona. Went skydiving, and I was still kind of coming off the psychosis. What do you say? Yeah. You were scared, dude. I had to kick him out of the plane. No, you're going. Yeah, when Scott, just really starting to see a lot of things, opening my eyes to how life can be beautiful, We had a great time with skydiving. I was still kind of coming off, the psychosis dope at this time. I mean, I was in a psychosis for, a couple of years. I was just, even though I was clean, I was just kind of looking through people. I was just kind of going like a head nod or one of these, you know what I mean? Just kind of out of it, you know what I mean? Not there, but I was, half the conversation would come to me about a week later. What's he talking about? It took a lot to fight back. I mean, it really took God to really change from the inside. You know what I mean? Just restart and renew things, renew my mind. After that trip, I really started giving recovery a go. I started giving things to God more. I had stints of 60, 90 days of being clean, but never went all in. So I got back and I did 90 and 90. 90 meetings in 90 days. I started volunteering, and at this time, I got about a year clean. At this time, COVID hit hard. I'm still staying clean during this time, even though a lot of things were shut down. Man, that COVID, what a devil, huh? Yeah. I mean, just to separate people and to just... and then COVID hit hard. I'm still staying clean. That's how bad I wanted it. And then I got news that my dad got hit hard with COVID, and that he was in the hospital. So me and my sister got on a plane. First we packed a suitcase full of medical supplies. Trisha had to have that, Yeah, medical supplies, and then and the house we were going to had COVID, and we were going to nurse them back to health and clean the house and see my dad. At this time, we were all over at my sister's house in Goodland because my nephew shot himself. He was 22 years old and always had a heart for people. So we're at my sister's house. It's been 2 days that we're sitting around there kind of just dealing with that death of our family, It's just like, there's really nothing to say, it just kind of, 2 days and get the news my dad isn't doing good. So instead of sitting around there, not sure what to do, we got on a plane and went to Arizona. I remember Trisha kept saying, let the dead bury the dead. It's just, that's kind of where, I don't know, that kind of helped me move on from that. You're right, let the dead bury the dead. So Jesus said. Yeah, Jesus said that. So instead of sitting, we went out to Arizona to see my dad. On our way to Arizona, we get news that my dad's in the hospital for a blood clot due to COVID. We ended up saying our goodbyes over a computer monitor because they wouldn't let us go into the hospital. His eyes were blinking, and I'm not sure if he could understand, but we said our goodbyes. We came back from that trip, and I realized how important it was to be there for my family. I could never do that when I was using. I was always in prison or locked up. It really woke me up of the importance of being there for people. So I quit quitting. This isn't easy, getting clean and changing things. You've been doing it for so many years, even the way that you think. I was really getting involved with CR and step study, where you can get to the root of problems and have an answer through the Bible on how to deal with them. CR helped me with my drug and alcohol addictions to today's life issues. I don't so much struggle with triggers and things like that anymore of drugs and alcohol, but I do struggle with life issues. Today I have over 5 years clean. I work for the union. My daughter's a big part of my life. I'm always helping other people, and it really helps me. And here's how I got there. I started just trusting in the process. That knowing God can open doors that I couldn't see, and closing doors that needed to be closed. I started talking about my problems and my issues of the past, and really talking about that freed me up. And took a look of weight off it took a lot of weight off my shoulders that I was carrying around. That's my testimony. Thanks for coming tonight.